Hi, I'm Jessie Walker. I'm a talent acquisition manager here at Seven Eagle Group. And in a previous position, I was also a transition assistance counselor for the U.S. Army. So I've had a lot of experience helping guys transition in terms of writing resumes, doing interview prep, and things of that nature. Today, I want to talk a little bit about writing a good civilian resume and being able to sell yourself to the civilian employers. So my biggest tips for veterans transitioning out of the military is to have a good civilianized resume. I know this can be really difficult for a number of vets because you're so used to speaking in military language and military jargon that it just naturally flows out onto paper. But unless your prospective civilian employer has been in the military, they're really not going to understand that language in terms of how your skills line up with the job that they want to hire you for. And I don't want you to undersell yourself because coming from the military, you naturally have a lot of skills and abilities, and it's just a matter of making sure that that translates onto paper so that you can get an interview and talk to that prospective employer in person and explain it a little better. So one of the biggest challenges for transitioning military is how to cut out the jargon in their resumes. This is a really big challenge when you're presenting that resume to a prospective employer. If you start using acronyms or military sensitive words like combat or Afghanistan or things like that, civilian employers are not going to look at you as a prospective employee. They're going to look at you as a military guy, strictly in that box. And we all know that you have a lot of skills that don't fit neatly into the civilian world. So try to avoid some of those military language words. And I have a lot of suggestions for replacement words. So here are an example or two of some of the biggest no-go words in my opinion. The first one is combat. Avoid this word pretty much at all costs on your resume, because the first thing that a civilian person is going to think of, they're going to think of war, they're going to think of PTSD, and a lot of negative connotations go along with that word. So as much as that's not the reality, and as a military spouse, I know that that's not the reality, we want to change their perspective of you. So instead of saying combat, say international conflict, or instead of saying that you are, a squad leader or a platoon leader in your infantry unit, you want to say something like you were a personnel manager or something along those lines, because they're not going to understand how big a squad is. They're not going to understand how big a platoon is. If you were even a company commander, say you were, a director or something like that. Here are a couple of websites that I have found really useful for guys who are trying to build their own resumes. You can visit ONET. If you just Google ONET, that site will come up. They have a lot of keyword and key skill builders for pretty much every MOS in the military. There's also vets.gov. They actually have a military skill translator. So you type in your MOS and the branch that you served in, and then they will give you a whole list of keywords that you can use in your resume to express your skills.